What's up guys, welcome back. This is anime fiction. You'll be watching What If Naruto Was Reborn as a Phenix God Part 10. Now let's begin. Yes, I am finally going to unlock my divinity, Naruto exclaimed with a burst of enthusiasm. Attempt to unlock your divinity, with the emphasis on making an effort. It typically takes a considerable amount of time for gods to fully comprehend the true essence of their divine powers. It's interesting to note that even the most powerful and knowledgeable gods struggle to achieve this, despite years of training. They often rely on external tools or crutches to tap into their natural abilities. Morgana pointed out his mistake. Sure, understood. Now, shall we get started? Naruto inquired, his composure slipping away. He was curious about the divine qualities he possessed. He had a strong desire to possess some powerful forces like death, nothingness, destruction, or perhaps even creation. Well, I suppose I won't decline, even if I am bestowed with the divine essence of desire. Naruto couldn't help but appreciate his magic teacher's attractive physique. He was feeling a bit frustrated at the moment because he hadn't been intimate for the past 2 months since arriving in the otherworld. No, Naruto, think pure thoughts, think pure thoughts. Think with your head. He repeated a mantra in his mind to clear away any inappropriate thoughts about his teacher. Excuse me, could you please let me know our current location? Naruto inquired, his gaze sweeping the surroundings. He sensed that they were still in the otherworld dimension, although Morgana had never taken him to this particular place before. They were on a solitary mountain encircled by a thick, ominous forest, where the towering trees rivaled small hills in size. Nevertheless, the most remarkable aspect of this location was the abundant mystical energy that radiated from it. This was the location where I discovered my true potential and reached a state of ultimate power. This is the sacred Phi Forest that has been blessed by Gaia herself. This place is a hub of cosmic energy and teems with vibrant life. It is a highly significant and remarkable location in Otherworld. Regrettably, my brother and his court magician failed to recognize its importance and dismissed it as a mere untamed forest teeming with perilous wildlife. Morgana said with a sly grin on her face. Oh, interesting, Naruto remarked, pondering the true extent of Merlin's intelligence as portrayed in legends. I wouldn't be surprised if he turned out to be the older and more senile and insane version of Dumbledore. He pondered silently. Now, that's all that needs to be said. It's time to take your growth to the next level. Take a seat, gently shut your eyes, and direct your attention inward. You must have a level of confidence to even attempt this. She gently guided Naruto to sit on a large, inviting rock. He heeded Morgana's advice, taking a seat and gently closing his eyes. Morgana gently moved behind him and placed her hands on his back. Naruto soon started to sense the gentle flow of energy emanating from her hands and into him. The experience was incredibly soothing, as if someone was gently relieving him of all his physical and emotional discomfort. It brings to mind the process of how individuals awaken Nen in HXH. Naruto contemplated while savoring the soothing sensation coursing through his bones and muscles. Typically, various pantheons have their unique methods of awakening their divinities. For instance, the Norse gods prefer utilizing the energies of their Yggdrasil tree to efficiently unlock divinities in young gods. However, this treatment is exclusively reserved for the royal family, Morgana explained, providing Naruto with further insight into the process. Now, experience the power of my expertise and let it guide you. Observe the seamless movement of energy within your body and its final destination. Your divinity encompasses every aspect of your being, transcending mere physicality. You and your divinity are aligned. Embrace it, but also maintain your autonomy and don't let it dictate your actions. Embrace it. Embrace your authentic self, your existence, and acknowledge your power. Morgana spoke in a calm and captivating manner. Naruto was incredibly calm and on the verge of dozing off. He struggled to stay awake. Despite being a deity with no need for rest, he inexplicably desired to maintain the same routine. He made an effort to stay mentally alert, but despite his best attempts, he gradually slipped into a state of unconsciousness, descending into the realm of dreams. Upon awakening, he discovered himself in an unfamiliar setting, a pristine white room, devoid of any objects or colors save for white. The object appeared to lack any discernible corners or sides, presenting a uniform white appearance in every direction. There was complete silence, absolutely nothing. Naruto found himself in what seemed like a pristine, empty space. Most individuals would likely experience negative effects from the absence of sound, direction, and visual stimuli. However, Naruto, being a god, remained completely unaffected by his surroundings, although he may have experienced a slight sense of boredom. "Ah, so you've finally arrived, have you?" Naruto was taken aback by a voice that came from behind him. As he turned around, he noticed another person standing a short distance away. However, this individual appeared quite distinct, exuding an untamed energy akin to that of a wild animal. "Excuse me, could you please inform me of my current location?" Naruto inquired with a sense of intrigue as he observed his surroundings. This can be seen as your spiritual realm, the tangible manifestation of your entire spiritual essence." Naruto expressed his lack of interest in the subject, considering it to be dull. "Oh, that's intriguing. By the way, will I attain my divinity through the cliched method of battling my spiritual doppelganger?" I had high expectations for this, hoping it would be an exhilarating experience filled with complex challenges and unique opportunities. Naruto observed his untamed appearance with a critical eye. "You make assumptions prematurely, you know. I strongly believe you should consider reframing your thoughts. And no, I am not here to argue with you. I am merely a temporary manifestation of your initial divinity merged with your own consciousness. And also, as you may be aware, the initial one is always complementary." The untamed Naruto grinned fiercely, baring his sharp teeth. "Nothing comes without a cost. If something is, then it likely belongs to you from the very beginning. However, it would be more efficient if I didn't have to engage in any conflicts with you. Additionally, what should I do with my other divinities, as you mentioned that I have more? When and how can I unlock those? Based on your description, it seems like you embody a divinity associated with power, ferocity, or perhaps even chaos." Naruto asked, his voice tinged with irritation. "Your other divinities will be unlocked when the time is right. Regarding your first divinity, while you are on the right track, none of the options you mentioned are correct. It's a one of a kind. In fact, it's something that you may not have anticipated. Undoubtedly, you are familiar with this authority, having encountered it in your past experiences. However, I'm uncertain if you were fond of the person who possessed it." The untamed Naruto spoke with a slightly taunting grin on his face. For some reason, Naruto found that smile quite unsettling. He pondered whether his initial divinity would be something trivial, such as the power of friendship, or something more substantial. "I understand your thoughts. And no, it's incredibly powerful, especially when used skillfully." Wild Naruto responded with a strong sense of pride, as if his first divinity had been challenged and he took it as a personal insult. "I understand. Hopefully, that's the case. Anyway, how can we move forward? Do we need to find a way to resolve our differences? I apologize, but I won't be engaging in any physical contact with you. It's still considered homosexual even if it is with oneself," Naruto said with a hint of sarcasm and impatience. "No, a simple handshake will suffice," Naruto said, with a hint of amusement. Naruto had no interest in prolonging this pointless conversation with his impolite counterpart any further. It's likely that he didn't possess any additional information, and even if he did, he didn't appear to have any intention of sharing it. Once Naruto's hands touched, a transformation took place. The energetic Naruto transformed into particles of light and seamlessly merged with the original Naruto. The initial Naruto sensed a transformation occurring within him, a newfound awakening that he had never experienced before. It was as if he had regained control of a limb he didn't realize he possessed, yet it felt instinctive and fitting. Naruto noticed a swift transformation in his surroundings, as the previously plain white room now boasted intricate crimson-red patterns. He was intrigued by the fascinating patterns and attempted to examine them more closely. However, every time he tried to shift his gaze, he inexplicably found himself transported back to the real world, still sitting on the rock where he had dozed off. "There has been a noticeable shift in you. Your demeanor underwent a sudden transformation. Did you manage to complete it? Did you grasp the concept of your divinity? Morgana inquired, her gaze fixed on Naruto, her eyes reflecting a myriad of emotions. She appeared to be struggling to maintain her balance, with her facial muscles visibly tensing. Naruto also observed a change in the surroundings. The rock he was sitting on had developed cracks, mirroring the fractured ground beneath him. Meanwhile, the trees in the forest appeared to be bending under an unseen force. The sky appeared to be affected by unfavorable weather all of a sudden. Naruto was perplexed by the unfolding events. He pondered whether these effects were a result of his expertise or something else. However, as he was contemplating, his vision was abruptly obscured by numerous notifications flooding his system. Yet, one notification caught his attention and sent shivers down his spine. Less than congratulations. The power of domination, 1/3 of the divine abilities, has been unlocked. Sorry, but that's not possible. That's not possible. This appears to be an error. Is my first divinity related to that inappropriate individual? Naruto felt an overwhelming surge of frustration and anger. Just when I thought I was finally getting over the emotional toll of selecting a poor name. He felt a deep sense of frustration as he stared at the notification that seemed to bring nothing but bad news. Ding! You have acquired the Divine Authority perk. Ding! You have acquired the Divine Domain perk. Congratulations! You have acquired the Divine Boost perk. Ding! You have acquired the Divine Presence, Aura of Domination perk. Ding! You have acquired the Touch of Dominance perk. Touch of Dominance is interacting with Perfect Sexual Compatibility and Touch of Nirvana. 3 distinct benefits are coming together and evolving into a single, unified advantage. Ding! New advanced perk, Absolute Dominance, acquired. Additional notifications from his system informed Naruto of the new skills he acquired through his newfound divinity. Well, I must admit that I have received numerous benefits from this new divinity, despite its connection to that questionable character from the DxD verse. He thought to himself with a hint of sarcasm. So, what are your thoughts? Have you noticed any changes in yourself? Morgana, who had established herself as a seasoned professional through the expert use of her own divinity, asked as she gazed at Naruto with a subtle yet undeniable curiosity in her eyes. I do. I feel significantly more accomplished and fulfilled. I feel as though I have been in a state of slumber until this moment, and have now abruptly awakened. It's impressive. Naruto grinned as he tightly gripped his fists, relishing in the exhilarating power he had just unlocked. Great. Impressive work from my protege. However, this is only the beginning. Discover and embrace your newfound power. One must quickly acquire the skill of managing and concealing it, because greater abilities attract formidable adversaries and more significant challenges. Morgana said, with a hint of frustration in her voice, as she opened a portal to her castle and departed, seemingly lost in thought. It seems that my divinity caught her off guard for some reason. I sincerely hope she was not affected by it. I strive to avoid being the individual who lacks mastery over their abilities, inadvertently causing harm to their fellow team members through uncontrolled displays of power. That would be a very common plot point. He thought anxiously as he recalled Morgana's legs trembling earlier. Nevertheless, he didn't dwell on it and instead directed his attention towards exploring the benefits that came with his new position. He requested his system to display information about his perks. Divine Authority. The user now possesses a restricted level of control over a concept of divine nature. As long as that concept domination exists, individuals will have the opportunity to tap into and replenish their divine energies through it. The user no longer needs cosmic, universal, and dimensional energies to recharge their powers. As the concept becomes more ingrained in the user's mind, their strength grows. Expertise in a specific domain. User possesses mastery over a particular domain, exerting control and influence within that sphere. In this particular field, the user's abilities and overall presence are amplified by 50% compared to their previous state, while all adversaries will experience a 50% reduction in their powers and levels of existence. With Divine Boost, Users can experience a significant increase in their abilities every 10 seconds. This power has the potential to elevate them to a level where they can challenge beings of much greater power, and if mastered, even pose a threat to elder gods. It also allows for the transfer of multiplied power to individuals or objects, including body parts such as the user's eyes for improved vision. Divine Presence. Aura of Authority. The user can envelop themselves in a powerful divine aura, compelling others to yield to their command. Enemies of lesser resolve will find their fighting spirit diminished when confronted with the user's commanding presence. Unmatched Supremacy. This ability grants the unparalleled power to effortlessly overpower any target. It has the ability to provide the utmost satisfaction or inflict the most agonizing torment with a mere touch. The user's skills are unmatched, whether it's in intimate moments or intense combat situations. No one can escape the user's grasp. I suppose I did acquire some abilities from that individual, didn't I? Naruto chuckled as he examined the description of the Divine Boost perk once more. Although, it would be quite useful when facing more formidable opponents. He thought as he simply disregarded his last skill. Now, I should hone my newfound divine abilities. I am confident that facing formidable opponents like Odin and Dormammu will pose a significant challenge, particularly if they possess the same immense power as depicted in the comics. He contemplated this as he embarked on creating a protective barrier around himself. Less than Morgan Le Fay's perspective greater than. Stepping out of her portal, Morgana swiftly leaned against the wall of her room. She was breathing heavily, with perspiration covering her entire body. I clearly misjudged his abilities, didn't I? He possesses exceptional strength compared to other deities. His expertise had a profound impact on me. She couldn't believe it. The memory of that overwhelming sense of defeat and powerlessness flooded back as she recalled Naruto's first activation of his divinity. But that was not the only thing that impacted me. She pondered as she discreetly adjusted her attire, feeling the intensity of her desires and longing for a connection with someone. Morgana couldn't help but laugh at herself for feeling like this. It has been a long time since she last indulged in self-pleasure. She believed she had transcended the base desires of the body, but now she found herself longing for the touch of her student, feeling a sense of impropriety. Naruto Uzumaki, I am continually amazed by your ability to surprise me. Your growth and development never cease to impress me. Morgana quietly contemplated, her lips parched as she imagined the potential future where her talented student would surpass her, treating her with a sense of dominance and intimacy. It would certainly be enjoyable. Less than from the perspective of Wanda Maximoff greater than. Where do you think Lord Agni is, Kitty? It's been quite a while since he last visited us. I wonder if he misses us as well, Wanda inquired, focusing on increasing the speed of her hexes as she aimed at her target in the danger room. I'm not familiar with Wanda, but I have confidence that he will return shortly. Despite being a deity, he demonstrates a sense of responsibility unlike the Greek or Nordic gods from tales, who often prefer idleness or constant revelry, Kitty remarked while attentively observing Wanda's training. Yes, he kindly provided me with a few magic books before his departure, encouraging me to familiarize myself with the fundamentals of the mystic arts during his absence. He assured me that he would impart further knowledge upon his return from his training arc, as he referred to it. I only hope he doesn't recruit additional individuals for his self-proclaimed priestess group, Wanda remarked, effortlessly slicing her target with a scarlet whip conjured by her magical abilities. Yeah, he's a bit eccentric like that. Hey, Wanda, do you think you could maybe let me take a peek at those magic books? Just a quick look would be amazing. Kitty attempted to persuade Wanda into granting her access to some fascinating magic tricks. No, Naruto entrusted me with those books. They are the property of his teacher. I cannot fulfill your request. It would be a breach of his trust, Wanda firmly refused Kitty's plea. Oh, please, you're fully aware that you're the reason I'm in this situation. I never intended to go down this path, but you left me with no choice. If you don't demonstrate some impressive magic spells from those books, I'll be forced to inform Lorna, Anna, and Pietro about your supposed ability to conjure unlimited beer through your magic, Kitty said, a mischievous grin spreading across her face as she addressed Wanda. What? No, this is not acceptable. Their constant requests for free beer will be extremely bothersome. Alright, I will demonstrate some magic tricks for you, but it is crucial that you keep my abilities completely confidential from the rest of the school. I do not wish to be labeled as a malevolent sorceress who provides alcohol to minors. Wanda reluctantly agreed, letting out a deep sigh. You understand, my dear friend. And just so you know, even if you hadn't agreed to share your magic with me, I still wouldn't have revealed your secret to anyone else. True friends always prioritize each other's trust and stand by one another through thick and thin. Kitty smiled warmly. Upon hearing this, Wanda couldn't help but smile as she embraced Kitty. She felt a sense of joy knowing that she was forming meaningful connections and finally had a loving family. And it's all because of him. She reflected warmly on the memory of her guardian angel, who also happened to be a part-time deity. I wonder if he also misses me. After a significant amount of time has passed. Less than Quicksilver's perspective greater than. And another point, I exclaimed with joy as I witnessed the ball successfully entering the basket. That's unfair, Pietro. Your super speed gives you an unfair advantage in sports. It's impossible for us to anticipate your moves. I believe you should refrain from using your power while we play basketball, Warren Worthington, also known as Angel, said with frustration, trying to catch his breath. Well, my friend, it seems that your problem lies right there. I must say, I didn't utter a single complaint when you effortlessly soared through the air with those magnificent wings of yours. And let's not forget, it was you who initially declared that powers were fair game in this little game of ours, am I right? I couldn't help but flash a self-assured smile in Warren's direction. The school underwent a remarkable transformation, becoming a much more tranquil environment. There has been no attack in the past 8 months. There have been no protests in front of the gates and no reports of any child being kidnapped. With Iza's assistance and Hank's advanced security technology, even the limited number of spies sent by the organizations were swiftly detected and neutralized. Contrary to expectations, the enrollment of metahuman students and staff had been steadily increasing. Thanks to Naruto's substantial funding, the school was experiencing rapid growth, prompting the construction of new residential complexes within the campus to accommodate the growing number of students. The school's funding was on par with the largest and most esteemed institutions in the country. The Xavier's School for the Gifted has not only gained a reputation as one of the most prestigious and well-known schools in the U.S., but also as a peaceful sanctuary for young metahumans, second only to the country of Genosha. Miss Aurora expressed a desire to change the school name to reflect its recent growth and evolution. Perhaps they could consider naming it something like Silver Heights or Quick Academy. Yes, those would be the most suitable names. Oh man, I can't believe we lost to Pietro of all people, Bobby lamented, his powers fading as he returned to his normal state. Bobby initially experienced a period of sadness after being rejected by Naruto, but he has recently emerged from that state. He has come to terms with the reality that he couldn't attain all his desires in life and has successfully moved forward. According to rumors circulating the school, there is speculation that the Man of Ice is involved with a wealthy individual from the Frost family. Well, that's great for him, I suppose. Yeah, it's almost the same as when we attempted to play dodgeball against Wanda. Lorna smiled sadly as she recalled her complete loss in the game at the hands of the Scarlet Witch. Wanda had thrown an impressive number of dodgeballs at incredibly challenging angles, leaving her opponent almost unable to keep track. She experienced discomfort throughout her body for approximately 1 week following that day. Lorna, Wanda, and I have developed a strong bond recently upon discovering our shared heritage as offspring of a powerful leader. We three had a strong connection due to our similar tastes and likings, which allowed us to form a great bond. Having 2 siblings can be quite enjoyable. Although there are occasional disagreements, it's generally enjoyable to have 2 sisters who always have your back. And she was correct. Wanda has been making significant progress in honing her powers, particularly her telekinesis abilities. Recently, she successfully prevented me from running during our mock battle in the danger room. By the way, Pietro, do you happen to know your sister's favorite type of flower? I wanted to express my gratitude for her assistance with my intense nightmares, so I thought of asking her out by presenting her with some flowers. John, also known as Pyro, approached us with a burst of speed, fueled by his fiery abilities resembling a low-budget jetpack. I would advise against it. Firstly, I am unable to assist you in pursuing a romantic relationship with my sister, despite our friendship. Secondly, I have reason to believe that she may not respond positively to your advances, as she has already expressed interest in someone else. It seems that she has a strong desire to marry her crush and fulfill her dream of becoming a homemaker with 2 children, as she mentioned during a recent game of Truth or Dare with myself, Lorna, and Wanda. Well, you never know until you try. Plus, what's the worst that can happen? Pyro said confidently, unaware of the potential consequences of provoking Wanda with her extensive magical abilities. I understand. If you are determined, I won't stand in your way. However, please keep in mind that I did try to caution you, Pietro said with a sigh. They continued to engage in casual conversations on various subjects and enjoyed themselves as typical teenagers, but unfortunately, their ordinary lives were short-lived. A piercing sound abruptly echoed in their minds, causing a throbbing headache and intense mental discomfort reminiscent of the cry of a disturbed bird. What is that sound? It's incredibly agonizing, Angel exclaimed, his hands instinctively shielding his head in an attempt to manage the intense pain he shared with his friends. After a while, the noise ceased and their suffering also subsided. However, a different voice resonated in their thoughts, that of Professor Xavier. Attention, students. It is imperative that you promptly make your way to the school building. This is not a drill. I repeat, all students must immediately enter the school building premises, echoed the professor's voice in their minds. What do you think is happening? Kurt inquired, his voice tinged with concern, as he teleported to their location. We are under attack, Gwenpool stated with utmost seriousness, swiftly maneuvering towards them like a true action hero on her Harley-Davidson, accompanied by her loyal walking shark perched on the back of her bike. Why does that shark never attempt to consume her? Is that the bike she's riding Wolverine's favorite? Oh, how did you come to that brilliant conclusion? Anna, also known as Rogue, asked sarcastically. I observed a female superhuman with a distinct appearance, including dark-themed clothing, flowing red hair, dark eyes, pale skin with visible veins, and an intense smile. She appeared to be floating in the sky, giving off an intimidating aura. It seemed as though she had the intention to cause harm and potentially destroy the school by summoning meteorites. Quite an alarming sight, Gwenpool stated with a serious expression, as she focused her attention on the solitary figure in the gradually darkening sky. Aurora, I need your help urgently. Jean's telepathic assaults are overwhelming, even with the assistance of Cerebro. Please contact Naruto as soon as possible. Jean's power has reached unprecedented levels, seemingly boundless. Amidst all that raw power, I can only sense her intense hatred and anger. It is imperative that we stop her swiftly, and Naruto may be our best hope in accomplishing this without causing further destruction to the city, Xavier explained, his voice strained as he clung to his helmet, blood trickling down his nose. Upon hearing this, Aurora immediately knew what to do. After being informed by Naruto, she became aware of Jean's identity as the Phoenix and her incredible potential. She understood that Jean was currently lacking control, while the professor was struggling to overcome the dark corrupted version of Jean in their ongoing telepathic battle, resulting in a current stalemate. She was determined to ensure the safety of her students and the school. She promptly made a decision. It was clear to her that Aiza was well aware of Jean's arrival, given the presence of numerous sentinels attempting to engage with the girl. She was confident that Aiza would reach out to Naruto independently to let him know about Jean. There was no action required on her part. What she needed to do was acquire more time, and that's exactly what she would do. Hold on for a little longer. I will ensure the safety of myself, the other teachers, and the students. Our priority is to safeguard this school from any harm. I am committed to protecting every student as long as I am able. Aurora declared resolutely, striding out of the room with a sense of purpose, determined to confront Jean and bring her back to reason. Less than Aurora's perspective, greater than. I wanted to assist my friends by providing them with some extra time. I needed to buy sufficient time for the others to devise a solution to overcome the formidable challenge posed by Jean, who was under the influence of the Dark Phoenix. Alternatively, I hoped that Naruto would arrive in time to provide assistance to all of us. After carefully considering my next move, I flew up to confront the Phoenix Avatar. Jean, why are you doing this? Don't you understand that we are your friends, your family? Why do you want to hurt us when all we want is to try and help you? I pleaded, hoping to appeal to her sense of compassion. Ah, Aurora, my dear friend. What? No words of congratulations that I am still alive. You all are truly self-centered, aren't you? I just came back and all you guys could think was how to protect yourself from me, how to convince me to leave again. But guess what? I'm not leaving this time, at least not without accomplishing what I came here to do. Jean said with intense anger in her voice. So, you're not here to cause destruction. You're not here to fight. I asked naively, a glimmer of hope in my voice. Oh no, my dear friend, I am determined to bring about change. I am here to confront the man who separated me from my parents, the manipulator who attempted to control my thoughts and dismantle this oppressive institution that he calls a school. I am here to put an end to it all and create a new, ideal world from the remnants of this flawed and corrupted society, for myself and my cherished one. Jean declared, her intense fixation evident in her final word. You will not achieve success, Jean. I am determined to prevent it. I will thwart your efforts, regardless of the obstacles. I declared, as dark storm clouds ominously formed above us, a testament to the power I possess. Oh really? You and who exactly? Jean said, her eyes narrowing as her expression turned more intense, with dark veins starting to appear on her flawless complexion. My own army, I exclaimed, feeling a surge of pride as I noticed numerous X-Men assembling behind me, donned in their formidable combat gear, ready to lend their unwavering support. I see. So taking my boyfriend wasn't enough for you, was it? You had to take away my friends too. Well, I suppose that's fine. Today, I will distance myself from these deceitful individuals that you consider friends and liberate myself from their betrayal, Jean said with a sinister grin. I unleashed a barrage of lightning upon the redhead without hesitation. I didn't want to cause her any harm, but it was necessary to safeguard the school and its students. I am committed to fulfilling Naruto's trust in me to safeguard this school and ensure his legacy remains intact. I am determined to live up to his expectations and not let him down. Surprisingly, Jean's hair remained completely unharmed, much to my astonishment. A spherical hazy force field was shielding her from my attack. I've acquired some skills along the way, but you, with your abilities in admokinesis, are limited to shooting lightning. It's quite amusing that you consider yourself a metahuman teacher, my dear Aurora. With a simple gesture, she effortlessly lifted chunks of earth and rocks from the ground, sending them hurtling towards me like missiles. I skillfully utilized my abilities to control the wind beneath me, swiftly evading the path of the incoming rocks. Peter, also known as Colossus, seized this opportunity and Logan was forcefully propelled towards Jean in an attempt to harm her, but she swiftly intervened using her telekinesis to halt Wolverine's advance and fling him a considerable distance away. Various rocks, pieces of earth, and broken wood floated around Jean, serving as a deterrent to anyone who dared to approach her. Jean was aware of her physical limitations. She prioritized her defense while utilizing her formidable telekinetic abilities to launch an offensive against us. As I contemplated my next move, a sudden blur of silver caught my attention. In an instant, Pietro, whom I immediately recognized, collided with me, his feet contorted in an unnatural manner, likely indicating a fracture. Darn it, I really should have invested in that foot insurance, Pietro grumbled through the pain. Jean skillfully directed the broken trees and rocks, swiftly launching them towards Colossus and Beast, effectively forcing them out of the battlefield by swiftly knocking them out. And here I anticipated some form of conflict. It's quite disappointing to see how feeble you all are. I will graciously restore this planet to its original state once I have exacted my retribution, Jean scoffed. No, I won't let anything happen to my friends. I'll make sure of it, Bobby declared as he transformed into his ice form, mirroring Pyro's fiery transformation. They both soared rapidly towards Jean, leaving behind trails of snow and fire. Bobby, also known as Iceman, unleashed his freezing ice blasts upon her from one direction, while Pyro unleashed a torrent of fire, resembling a living flamethrower. Seizing an opportunity, I also unleashed a series of powerful lightning bolts from above, strategically manipulating the air to suffocate her. Additionally, I enhanced the attacks of both Iceman and Pyro by concentrating nitrogen and oxygen in their respective abilities. Even Jean, with her incredible powers, struggled to maintain her force field against our relentless assault. Her face showed the strain of the oxygen-deprived environment. Right as it seemed like we were on the verge of overcoming her defense with our collective abilities, she unleashed a powerful telekinetic blast that sent us all flying. Bobby and I managed to shield ourselves from the pulse, relying on our advanced abilities. However, Pyro, lacking both sufficient control and raw power, was forcefully thrown back by the impact and immediately rendered unconscious upon landing on the mansion's artificial fountain. She skillfully unleashed a powerful burst of fire from Pyro, swiftly incapacitating Bobby and sending a colossal tree hurtling in my direction, leaving me trapped beneath its immense weight. However, the situation was far from resolved. There was still one glimmer of hope remaining. Our most recent addition was still out in the field. Out of nowhere, a burst of mist appeared behind Jean, and Kurt, also known as Nightcrawler, materialized, poised to strike with his sharp, pointed tail. However, his attempt to wrap his tail around Jean's neck was swiftly thwarted as an invisible force sent him crashing to the ground. However, Nightcrawler's plan didn't stop there. A brunette suddenly appeared behind Jean, who had just barely made contact with the redhead. "Ah, what the foo!" Jean shouted as she felt her vitality and abilities being drained away by the girl who had unexpectedly touched her. She felt her own life essence being gently drained by the adolescent girl. "Feels sickening, doesn't it, sugar? Don't worry, I'll only absorb it until you lose consciousness. I don't kill crazy redheads with sad backstories," Anna Marie, nicknamed Rogue, stated as she continued to grasp onto Flying Jean with both hands. "You want my power? Let's see if you have it," Jean remarked, channeling her Phoenix Force energy into Rogue as well. The southern girl seemed to be in a world of anguish, as her eyes reflected genuine terror and sorrow, and strands of her hair went white. Finally, she was unable to hold on to Jean as she lost consciousness and collapsed, but was rescued by Wanda using her own red telekinesis. "You know, they all used to tell me that my powers are quite similar to yours, and that we even look similar with our identical red hair, but I think we are quite different. I will never go insane like you because of my own powers, and I will never attack my own friends," Wanda said as she threw her red hexes at Jean while floating toward her. "So, they already got a replacement this soon. I guess you do look like a cheaper version of me. Although it seems like you are quite powerful as well, even my inner birdie senses seem to react to you for some reason, but guess what, I am much stronger." Jean smiled as she caught one of her hexes with a telekinetic hold and directed it toward her. But, thankfully, Wanda avoided it and started using her own telekinesis to drag Jean down. Jean proceeded to do the same thing against her. It seemed that both were in a telekinesis duel, with Jean's invisible force and Wanda's scarlet energy being well balanced for a moment, but Jean swiftly defeated Wanda with her massive telekinetic force owing to the Phoenix Force inside her, and Wanda was driven back into the earth. "This is enough. All of you are weak, a disappointment, you have no hope of defeating me. Even the professor, with his cerebro, is not able to stop my mind's powers alone. The only reason I haven't forced him into a coma and destroyed all of your minds is because the other cerebro is also fighting me on different fronts, but that won't last long." Jean screamed like a maniac as her eyes turned completely black, thick black veins decorating her entire body, and thin marks of energy cracking up from beneath her skin. "I will make this Earth a better place by first destroying this corrupted little planet, and none of you will be able to stop me." Her whole body was engulfed by dark red and golden flames that formed the distorted figure of a worn-out, diseased-looking phoenix behind her. She was completely correct. None of us were strong enough to stop her. Many people were powerful enough to fight Jean Grey, but none could defeat the Phoenix. She was a celestial being beyond our expectations. We'd always fall short against someone like them. We had no hope. This was a futile struggle from the start. "I am sorry, Naruto. I was unable to defend your legacy. I couldn't even aid my pal. So much time to hone my abilities, yet all I can do is float and blast lightning. I truly am a failure, Aurora thought as Jean's flames grew bigger and stronger, preparing to consume everything in their path and raise everything to ash and dust. You should all know who to blame when the sky falls down on you. Now, burn. Jean cried as she directed all of the flames from the sky upon us. She wasn't just going to destroy the school, she was going to burn the whole city, and maybe the entire globe after that. I love you, Naruto, please remember me always, Aurora murmured in what she believed was her last breath. Boom, boom. The thunderous sound of an explosion resonated across the region as intense heat spread, yet unexpectedly, not a single person was killed. Even the heat from the Phoenix fire explosion caused some folks to sweat somewhat. Wait, what? Jean was completely perplexed. She utilized enough strength in her strike to destroy a portion of the city and reduce everything to ashes, yet not a single blade of grass was burned by her Phoenix fire. There was plenty of smoke, but no fire. It was as if her whole onslaught had vanished. As part of the smoke cleared, she saw him absorb the final remnants of his fire into his palms, like a vacuum cleaner. It was her love, Naruto, hovering in the air above the useless collection of backstabbers. He seemed to have changed a lot in the previous year, not physically, but she sensed something more in him, more strong, deadly, and almighty. His very presence appeared to impact her, warning her not to fight and forcing her to surrender to him. But she wouldn't. She had vengeance to exact and a civilization to destroy. You have returned. Good, we can do this together then. We can kill all these worthless insects and make our own home in its place. Our own heaven on the ashes of that brainwashing bastard's hell. Jean smiled and enthusiastically remarked, as if she was attempting to satisfy him. No, I can't allow you do that. I can't dispute that Xavier and others have harmed you previously, but that doesn't mean you can damage and murder innocent people to punish him. You may kill him if it genuinely brings you peace, but I won't let you harm anybody else here. And, truthfully, this is not you, Jean, this is just a twisted little corrupted version of you. I want the old Jean back, the Jean who was friends with everyone here, the Jean I love with all my heart, not this dark cruel little joke of a phoenix, Naruto said, maintaining eye contact with Jean to demonstrate his seriousness. Ha 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 ha, you want the old innocent and naive weak little Jean, don't you? But sadly, she is gone. I am all that's left. I am the true Jean Grey, the one she had hidden away, the one who doesn't care about this world and its people, the one who can raise everything in her path to get what she wants. I have mastered my powers while burning entire civilizations and feeding my hunger by tearing apart entire planets rock by rock, atom by atom. No one on this planet, and I mean no one, can stop me from getting what I want. Right now, I want my revenge, and I want you. I will get you even if I have to cut off all your limbs and chain you to a throne. Jean declared as mountain-sized pieces of earth floated up behind her. With a flick of her wrist, the gigantic stones rained down on Naruto like giant missiles. Naruto was powerful enough to break the rocks with his usual blows if he didn't hold back, but he didn't want to jeopardize the people on the ground by showering rocks on them. So he muttered a simple transmutation magic given to him by Morgana, and the 4 pebbles quickly transformed into paper butterflies. Magic truly is rubbish, he thought to himself, but just as he was considering how to restrain Jean without injuring her, he was interrupted by a system message. Ding! A quest was created. World choice identified. Please choose one of the following actions. 1. How can you claim to be a deity if you are unaware of your own past? Task. Now that the Phoenix's primary host is in front of you, you may discover how you were born. Use it to approach the genuine Phoenix Force and discover your true origins. Note: this specific work must be performed within 1 hour. Reward: Nirvana Flame, perk card. 2. A god isn't terrified of dark, burning foul. Task: the Dark Phoenix made a mistake by insulting you. Destroy it to ensure that this never occurs again and to preserve your honor. Note: this specific work must be performed within 1 hour. Reward: the Divine Psionics, perk card. 3. New God-like dark phoenix thighs. Task. The black phoenix may desire to amputate you, but only because she loves and cares for you. To reclaim your soulmate, reveal your actual emotions and surrender to her. Note: this specific activity must be performed within the next half hour. Reward: a divine grade booklet on how to survive your toxic relationship, a whole set of limited edition Phoenix-themed BDSM implements, a choker with Phoenix's pet printed on it, and the extinction of all human life on Earth. Hype. Additional Note 1. Failure to complete the task within the time limit will result in no penalty. Additional Note 2. Punishments are not issued by the system, but rather are the most likely outcomes of the host's decisions and behaviors. For some reason, I really want to choose the third option and see how the manual and limited edition BDSM instruments appear. Sigh, but I still have a job to perform and people to rescue. I can't succumb to my terrible urge. And, as much as I want to select the first and second options, I can't murder Jean, even if I desperately crave psychic abilities. Wait, according to the second option, I must destroy the Dark Phoenix, not murder Jean. So maybe I can. Although it will be difficult to pull off, it may work. And even if it doesn't, I won't have to pay any penalties. Naruto reasoned as he selected the first two options. Of course, his whole train of thinking lasted barely a second in the actual world. "You will be mine," Jean shrieked as she started to use her telekinetic abilities on Naruto, attempting to crush his limbs with her telekinetic grasp. She knew that using her telepathic talents on him was impossible since she could never read his thoughts until he permitted her to. Naruto was having difficulty moving. He wasn't in much pain at this level of power, but it was frustrating since it was causing him mobility issues. Of course, he was aware that this sort of force was powerful enough to easily fracture tectonic plates, but to him, it was only a firm grip on his body, not enough to inflict serious muscular agony. He didn't attempt to physically oppose the grip much, instead sending a telekinetic push via his Rinnegan at Jean, catapulting her away like a ragdoll until she stabilized in the air with her superb telekinesis control. She was essentially unhurt since the push was insufficient to do major damage, and she had not dropped her telekinetic barrier from the start of the battle. However, the strike had caused her to lose her grasp on Naruto, and he was now free. Talk about being a yandere, Jean heard Naruto say as he fractured the bones in his body. Yandere? Oh no. I am much worse, my love. Jean grinned, an unhealthy infatuation flashing in her lovely eyes as solid matter started to break apart into molecules and atoms around her due to her tremendous abilities. And you will bear witness to how much worse I can be as I show you the power of my love towards you. Jean's abilities were causing sheer devastation. She'd stopped caring and held back. Everything around her was beginning to crumble into dust composed of innumerable atoms and molecules. The Black Phoenix was now aiming for complete devastation. Jean, for the last time, stop. Stop before you get hurt. Naruto warned Jean as he slowly started to glide towards her. He didn't want to hurt her, but she was forcing him into a corner. His lower tier spells and abilities will have little impact on her, but his stronger ones might badly hurt her. Who's gonna stop me? You, the boyfriend who didn't even try his best to search for me after I went missing. The boyfriend who got a new weather whore as soon as I was gone. The boyfriend who screws every other female out beside his own soulmate. No, I won't stop until I make sure that I cleanse this world of all evil, of all corrupted life. Jean screamed with such rage that tears were streaming out of her eyes. She seemed to be in anguish and suffering. Although she seemed powerful on the exterior, Naruto could sense her true anguish on the inside, longing to be freed, asking for someone to save her, the real her confined by the Dark Phoenix's abilities. Then I guess it leaves me with no choice but to do this the hard way. Naruto had made up his mind as he groaned and moved determinedly towards her. He was going to finish the Phoenix drama today, one way or another. As he moved closer to Jean, he could feel her great telekinetic might tearing him apart, attempting to reduce his physical body to atoms and molecules. However, he did not pause and carried on, immediately performing a spell to create a magical force field around them to control the molecular damage she was inflicting. After all, He didn't want the city to vanish after he fixed Jean, did he? As the damage was momentarily contained, he continued to approach toward her, unconcerned about the consequences for others. But for now, he couldn't think about them. He needed to worry about Jean. Although Jean's assault was far from fatal, it nevertheless stung him like ants attempting to bite him. God, he was really starting to dislike insects. After I finish rescuing you, I'm going to make you pay me with your body, you little red-headed minx. He was frustrated by the additional drama and labor he had to put in just after returning from such tough training. Naruto had become rather close to Jean by this time. He didn't stop and extended his hand to seize her. Of course, there was supposed to be an impenetrable force field to prevent him from touching her, but nothing stopped him. It seemed as if she was welcome him, enabling him to go close to her and do anything he needed. As soon as he made physical contact with her, he started to take the plentiful, nearly unlimited sustaining cosmic energy from her with his Rinnegan, attempting to weaken her, but her energy appeared to be infinite. No matter how much he received from her, she did not seem to weaken at all. Naruto knew at this time that she was much more strong than she had previously shown, but she was still holding back. She could have destroyed the Earth from space without ever getting near, but the Jean Grey within her was determined to prevent that. Maybe it was because she loved him, or maybe it was because she was really nice. Naruto, on the other hand, was unconcerned about why she was being quiet. He needed to act quickly to eliminate the danger posed by the Black Phoenix before things went out of control. Naruto, although certain that the new him would not lose against a full-powered bloodthirsty Black Phoenix, was less confident that he would be able to rescue his world if that occurred. He efficiently produced black receivers from his hands using his Rinnegan. He discovered during his training that his black receivers functioned similarly to those of the Sage of Six Paths, allowing him to manipulate various energies from the universe, including universal, cosmic, and dimensional energies. However, the level of resistance they could put up ultimately hinged on the target's strength. Naruto skillfully molded his black receivers into makeshift handcuffs, firmly restraining Jean's arms. This allowed him to persistently drain her energy, simultaneously bolstering his own strength for the imminent task at hand. Divine Domain, Naruto murmured softly. Once he spoke those words, a professional aura seemed to emanate from him, enveloping their surroundings. Within that short distance of 100 meters, Naruto experienced an overwhelming sense of power and authority. His heightened awareness for the first time seemed to be operating at its peak as he became conscious of everything within a 100-meter radius. He had a comprehensive understanding of the molecules present in the area, the population of bacteria and viruses, the various types of energies in that space, and even Jean's current strength. It was evident that her power was currently on par with a well-fed Galactus. However, he had a suspicion that something was actively working to dampen her abilities beyond what should have been possible. Within his own realm, he had experienced a significant increase in power, as if he were transcending into a higher being. Another option, something that was similar and connected to his current godly race but also completely different. Perhaps, this is a glimpse into the potential I could unlock in my ultimate state, Naruto pondered, his mind drifting to the formidable true form Darkseid from the comics. Indeed, it appeared that not only he, but even the Dark Phoenix Jean, was impacted by his own domain. Her power and madness appeared to diminish slightly as she regained a fragment of her original personality. Naruto, you must end this before she regains control. She is not me. She is merely a distorted manifestation of my desires. She will not cease until she annihilates all and everything. Please, put an end to it. Take my life. Only you have the power to do so, Jean implored, tears streaming down her face, desperately seeking her own demise in the hope of saving others. No, Naruto replied with a serious expression. What? But you must, otherwise. Jean started. This is not a fictional scenario, Jean. In reality, death is permanent and there are no happy endings. Your passing means you will be gone forever, without any chance of returning. There won't be any exciting new adventures awaiting you. Instead, it will be an eternal slumber in a dark and merciless afterlife. I refuse to let that happen. You deserve to live, just like anyone else I hold dear. I won't allow myself to experience the pain of losing someone again, especially not to a senseless act caused by a mentally ill bird, he expressed, gently cupping her cheeks in his hands. His words appeared to have originated from a place of genuine emotion. It seemed as though he had experienced a similar situation before, as if he understood the profound impact of losing someone dear. You will regret that. Jean couldn't help but cry, overwhelmed with fear of hurting the only person she had ever loved due to her inability to control her powers. Perhaps, but I don't really mind. I'll deal with tomorrow's concerns when tomorrow comes, he chuckled as he proceeded to kiss Jean, utilizing his Rinnegan's mind manipulation abilities. He understood that he lacked the necessary ability to directly manipulate Jean's mind. He lacked the necessary expertise and had little chance of emerging victorious in a psychic battle against the formidable Dark Phoenix, even in its weakened state. However, he had the ability to enter Jean's mind through their strong connection. He could utilize his expertise to project his astral psychic self into her and neutralize the Dark Phoenix from within. At least that way he would have a better opportunity. As Naruto focused, he discovered a profound connection with Jean that he had never experienced before. As he pulled into it further, attempting to follow its path, he found himself being drawn in by the connection itself, descending into an abyss that appeared to stretch on indefinitely. As soon as he opened his eyes, he was greeted by a scene that he recognized. He found himself once again in the White Room, but this time the temperature was scorching, as if he were standing in the heart of a blazing inferno. The temperature and pressure here were incredibly high. "Hello, my son," a voice suddenly came from behind him. "Hello, my son," a voice resonated behind Naruto, carrying an ethereal quality. It seemed to be a harmonious blend of countless female voices, yet retained the clarity and melodiousness of a canary's song. Naruto quickly turned around and was met with the sight of the largest bird he had ever seen. It was a bird-shaped entity crafted from a mesmerizing blend of golden and crimson-red flames. It was a captivating and intense experience. He pondered why he hadn't noticed the large bird sneaking up on him or lurking behind him for so long. It appeared that his understanding of the universe was not functioning properly in this situation. He was quite inexperienced in this situation, pun intended. "Let me guess, you're my dear old mother, right? The one who laid my egg." Naruto attempted to inject some humor into the situation to prevent it from becoming awkward. He was uncertain about how to navigate a situation of this nature. He was unsure of how to respond when meeting his supposed mother. He wasn't certain about having a mother in his previous life, and currently, he has no desire to have one, particularly because he lacks trust in cosmic and interdimensional entities. Based on his extensive knowledge and experiences, it seems that the majority of them were either individuals who believed in the concept of the greater good or those who believed in maintaining balance at any cost. They never truly prioritized their relationships with friends and family. Yes, and no, the Phoenix Force replied in a detached manner. Despite appearing uncertain, she responded to him. She appeared to be somewhat unsure of how to respond. "You can't tell me after all this that you are uncertain about my parentage because I don't think there are any cosmic DNA tests available for this type of situation," Naruto replied, displaying a hint of frustration. "Wow, I feel like I'm acting pretty immature and rebellious, don't you think?" He thought to himself, but he couldn't help but feel a deep anger towards the Phoenix Force for some unknown reason. "I am your mother, but in a unique and profound sense. Your birth is a result of my immense power, as your existence originated from my vast multiversal being. However, your physical form was brought into the world by a human woman, made of flesh and blood. Therefore, you could consider me as one of your mothers." The voice of the Phoenix Force resonated with a stoic tone, devoid of any emotion. "Wait, what? My mother was a human? But I thought that..." Naruto was utterly bewildered. Why did his system identify him as a new god if he was supposedly human? Was he truly exceptional or was the system deceiving him from the beginning? Does the origin of his soul from the Phoenix Force imply that he was not reincarnated? Did he never have a previous life? Naruto experienced a headache as a result of the multitude of questions swirling in his mind. Indeed, your mother was a human woman. However, she possessed unique qualities that set her apart. She was known for her kindness and compassion, always seeing the good in others. Yet, she also had a fierce protective instinct, much like a mother wolf, when it came to safeguarding those she cared about. And most importantly, she was my host, my first ever human host. I still remember it vividly when I first bonded with her, Kushina. Perhaps it was just his imagination, but it seemed as though Phoenix's typically stoic and emotionless voice became slightly sentimental at the end, as if she was reminiscing about something nostalgic from her past. "Hey there, Lady Phoenix, please don't get emotional. I would appreciate hearing my backstory from you, but at the moment, I am pressed for time. My priority is to rescue Jean from the influence of the Dark Phoenix, which is gradually consuming her mind. Can you provide any information on her whereabouts or offer guidance on how to save her?" Naruto inquired. His topmost concern at the moment was to rescue Jean. Following that, he would contemplate completing his initial mission by attentively listening to the story of the Phoenix Force. "Lady Phoenix, that was the name people used to call your mother when I became her host. But you're correct. Our top priority is to rescue my current host, Jean Grey, as quickly as possible," she stated, her gaze fixed in a specific direction. As soon as she shifted her focus in that direction, the space in that part of the white room seemed to distort, revealing the sudden appearance of two distinct figures. The first was the appearance of Jean Grey, who appeared frail and ill, as if she had been drained of her vitality. She wore a chain that was connected to a choker around her neck. On the other end of the chain, there was a second figure, a massive flame bird that bore a striking resemblance to the original Phoenix Force. However, this one was composed of dark black and maroon red flames and was noticeably smaller than the original Phoenix. However, unlike Jean, this little bird was entangled in various chains that were all holding her back, attempting to diminish her freedom and confine her. "Naruto, is that really you?" Jean asked, her voice weak as she gazed at the astonished expression on the new god's face, struggling to comprehend what she was witnessing. "Yes, are you okay, Jean? Don't worry, I'll rescue you from this thing soon. I'll never abandon you." Naruto quickly approached her, offering support and trying to instill some hope, all while keeping a close watch on the Dark Phoenix, which was desperately struggling to break free from its restraints. He observed an intense hunger in its eyes, seeking to consume and annihilate everything in its wake. The only obstacle in its way were the chains that bound it. "It's quite interesting, really. As a force of creation and rebirth, it's inherent that destruction is also within my realm of responsibilities. After all, in order to create something new, there must first be a process of destruction, followed by rebirth. The Dark Phoenix, in a way, represents one of the many significant responsibilities I hold. It was always meant to exist within my chosen hosts, and it was up to them to decide whether to allow it to fulfill its purpose or to resist and control its power. Your mother, for instance, chose to resist the influence of the Dark Phoenix and instead managed to harness its power. However, as humanity has gradually caused harm and destruction, it has also had a negative impact on my darker side. When an individual attempted to confine me within the depths of this girl's mind, I remained unaffected. My true essence is far too powerful to be influenced by the emotions and abilities of a single human. This girl is just one of many hosts I possess across the multiverse. However, my darker aspect, known as the Dark Phoenix, was indeed affected by her suppressed memories and emotions. Her negative feelings served to strengthen and further corrupt her, transforming her into a repulsive and twisted abomination that seeks only to relentlessly annihilate all of creation. The Phoenix Force unveiled the truth about the Dark Phoenix. "You, how dare you call me an abomination? I will devour you after I kill and devour this little human girl. But then I won't stop and I'll continue destroying everything until nothing exists anymore except only ashes and darkness." The Dark Phoenix expressed its anger and hostility, while Naruto remained unaffected, much like the original Phoenix Force. "So, why can't you simply eliminate that insignificant bird since you admitted that she is no match for your immense power? It appears to me that you are simply lacking motivation, aren't you?" Naruto confronted the Phoenix Force, exerting great effort to refrain from including any derogatory terms in his last statement. "Indeed, I possess far greater power than the Dark Phoenix. I represent the essence of life, creation, and rebirth across multiple universes, while she only embodies destruction within your universe. She was able to separate herself from me and become a distinct entity, but I allowed it to prevent her from corrupting me or the Phenix Force as a whole. However, it is not my responsibility or duty to destroy her, even though I could easily do so. According to the Tribunal's laws, direct intervention is prohibited, at least for now. The voice of the Phoenix softened as she gazed at Naruto. So, you're saying you can assist us in a roundabout way? Naruto inquired, hopeful for a potential solution. Of course, he could always try the traditional approach and defeat the Dark Phoenix through sheer force, in case he doesn't receive any assistance from his mother. However, that was his final course of action, when he would feel extremely desperate. Yes, we must act quickly to avoid detection by the Tribunal. They have strict judgments regarding our interactions with lower-dimensional beings without valid justification. Surprisingly, they have yet to discover your connection to me, and I prefer to keep it that way. The Tribunal is not particularly fond of beings who acquire excessive power. Additionally, if the Dark Phoenix continues to wreak havoc on Earth, it may draw the attention of your father, which would be unfavorable for your current situation, the Phoenix Force expressed, her typically impassive voice tinged with concern and frustration. Father. Oh, so I have a father too. Naruto's mind was filled with confusion. I wonder if there are any additional members in my family that I haven't discovered yet. Do I have any siblings or children that I am unaware of? As Naruto contemplated the situation, he conveniently overlooked the fact that he had actually forgotten whether or not he had a father. It seemed entirely possible that things could turn out that way. Doesn't every biological being have a father? The Phoenix Force seemed unsure about his question, her expression and tone devoid of any emotion. Yes, what I meant to ask was, who is this father of mine? And why did I never meet him before? Naruto inquired, pondering whether his father was someone extraordinary or perhaps from a different era. Your father, who brought you into this world with your biological mother, holds a prestigious position as a Skyfather. He is revered as the king of the pantheon of Asgard, known as the All-Father Odin Borson. Did you really claim that my father was Odin, or have you suddenly developed a peculiar sense of humor? Naruto couldn't help but narrow his eyes at the Phoenix Force. I never lie nor do I joke, the Phoenix calmly clarified, although Naruto had his doubts on her last claim to never joke. I understand. That clarifies why I possess a certain level of expertise and authority. However, it still doesn't address my inquiry regarding your reluctance to inform Odin about my existence. What secrets are you concealing, mommy? Naruto inquired with a stoic expression. I can provide you with more information later, but at the moment, it is crucial that we prioritize saving that girl. Failing to do so could result in the complete destruction of our planet. The Phoenix Force adeptly shifted the conversation for the time being. All right, I'll listen. Please tell me what I need to do. Naruto couldn't overlook Jean's current state, even though he understood that she was trying to change the subject and delay the conversation. He had to set aside his personal curiosity and take action to restore Jean to her normal healthy state. She appeared to be reaching her limit and may not be able to sustain this much longer. Furthermore, he didn't want Jean to uncomfortably linger in her fragile state on the verge of death as he listened to his tragic backstory about his father from the Phoenix Force. The Dark Phoenix cannot be destroyed. It has evolved beyond that point. It is now an integral part of the human girl, deeply connected to her. Any attempt to eliminate the Dark Phoenix would be futile, as it will always find a way to return through its bond with her. Therefore, the only true way to eradicate it would be to eliminate the girl herself, thus severing the Dark Phoenix's connection to a physical form, the Phoenix Force solemnly declared. Naruto was determined to oppose this method and firmly reject it. He prefers to transport Jean to a desolate universe or alternate reality through a boom tube rather than causing her harm. He was determined to ensure that none of his girls would ever have to experience the turmoil of sacrifice. However, before he could utter a word, the Phoenix Force spoke once more. However, there is an alternative approach to neutralize the threat posed by the Dark Phoenix. It involves the girl absorbing the entirety of its existence into her own soul and assimilating it within herself. This would result in only one entity inhabiting her physical body, the one that emerges victorious in the battle of will and attrition. It is important to note that this method carries significant risks, as there is a high probability of the Dark Phoenix prevailing over the girl. Regardless of the chosen course of action, a prompt decision is imperative to prevent the abomination from gaining complete control. It is solely due to my power that the girl has not been consumed thus far, the Golden Bird disclosed. Naruto was struggling to find the right answer. He obviously preferred the second option, but unfortunately, he didn't have the authority to make the decision. It belonged to Jean. He maintained a composed demeanor as he directed his gaze towards Jean, patiently awaiting her decision. Jean, who had been attentively following the conversation, understood that she had a single viable option. Despite Naruto giving her the illusion of choice, he would never harm her or allow any harm to come to her, even if she were to select the first option. "I'll take on the Dark Phoenix," she declared, her determination unwavering. Deep down, she questioned her ability to endure even a fleeting moment in her present state. Nevertheless, she was resolved to give it her all, fueled by the unwavering support of those who believed in her, and her unwavering dedication to Naruto. "All right, so, Naruto, it's crucial that you assist her in defeating the Dark Phoenix. While I can't personally get involved, you have the ability to engage in a battle of mental strength and determination. Your unique black rods may hold the key to determining the outcome of this clash." The Phoenix provided Naruto with a hint to secure Jean's triumph. "Black rods. Oh yeah, I can utilize those since they proved effective on her before." Naruto recalled the black receivers of his Rinnegan. He was uncertain about utilizing his abilities and equipment within this location, but if the Phoenix claimed it to be accurate, he had reason to believe it. He observed the Dark Phoenix, which glared at everyone in the room as if it desired nothing more than to unleash its fury upon them and feast on their insides. However, it remained silent for unknown reasons. It appears that the Phoenix Force had utilized its power to close its mouth, preventing any screams from escaping. Naruto did concur with this course of action as it was truly exasperating, with its voice resembling the cacophony of countless individuals in distress. "Then I'll release the Dark Phoenix now. And remember girl, whatever happens from this point, it will not only determine your own destiny but also the fate of your realm and even the fate of my son, since even a small butterfly can flap its wings and create the biggest of storms, and you little girl are not just a butterfly but a mighty phoenix, cut from the same cloth as me." Naruto's mother gave her a motivational speech. "Wow, it seems like you have some impressive motivational skills," Naruto playfully remarked as he distanced himself from Jean. He left a small gift in her hands, creating room for them to engage in a friendly fight. However, Naruto had a sneaky plan to assist Jean in winning. "No, but having access to the memories of numerous motivational speakers from different dimensions can be seen as valuable training," Phoenix replied in her composed tone. "And you claim to never joke," Naruto muttered to himself. "All right, let's get started." Upon her words, the extra chains restraining the Dark Phoenix started to break apart effortlessly, one by one, until only a single chain remained, the one linking it to Jean. However, as soon as it was released, instead of targeting Jean, it aggressively charged towards Naruto, resembling a furious raptor. Naruto appeared to pose a significantly greater danger to its survival than Jean herself. However, much to the disappointment of the imposter Phoenix, it failed to match Naruto's prowess and was swiftly halted, as if someone had pulled on its leash. "Keep your distance from my boyfriend," Jean warned, exerting her remaining power to prevent the girl from getting any closer to Naruto. The new god seized the opportunity and swiftly unleashed a barrage of obsidian projectiles in the form of rods, piercing the body of the ominous Phoenix, causing it to emit a piercing shriek of agony. Instead of draining power from the Dark Phoenix and absorbing it directly, he chose to reroute it into the original Jean, whom he had previously provided with a small black receiver. After a short time, Jean appeared to regain her strength and return to her original state, effortlessly absorbing the psionic energies from the Dark Phoenix. Now, the Dark Phoenix could no longer sustain itself from her. Instead, she became the one consuming it. "Now, this feels much better." Let's see who comes out on top now, you infuriating avian creature. Jean said with determination in her voice as she was determined to win this competition and demonstrate her true worth by proving herself, now that Naruto had made the situation more equitable. Unbeknownst to her, this was merely the start. Naruto was now focused on gaining an advantage and he was fully dedicated to doing so. After all, the expert in trickery had just awoken. What is this? What are you doing to me? This appears to be quite challenging. Stop, you individuals with unprofessional conduct. The Dark Phoenix emitted a sharp cry of anguish and frustration as it felt its power being drained relentlessly, against its desires. What are the reasons? Have you not been behaving in a similar manner towards me all this time, exploiting me like a cunning parasite? How does it feel now, my avian companion? It's rather ironic, isn't it? Jean confidently grinned as she derided Dark Phoenix. This decision may have negative consequences in the future. A piercing scream escaped the Dark Phoenix, its aura of psionic energy surging from its body and hurtling ominously towards Jean. Jean, however, made no effort to avoid or evade this. With a sense of expertise, she confidently began to emit her own psionic energy, a radiant aura that stood out against the sinister energy of the malevolent bird. Two powerful psionic energies clashed in an intense battle, evoking the spirit of an epic anime scene. It seemed that the final result would be determined by one of them winning fairly and surpassing the other. However, this unfortunate truth was the reality in which someone like Naruto existed. He displayed a lack of professionalism by consistently disregarding the rules and exploiting the absence of consequences to cheat to the maximum extent possible. He couldn't use magic in this specific location, but he had complete access to his bloodline abilities and most of his divine powers. With a calculated approach, he took advantage of the opportunity to optimize his benefits from this situation. Almighty push! He expertly harnessed the immense repelling power of the Rinnegan, catching the bird completely off guard with a force that could have caused significant damage. A surprise attack caught the Dark Phoenix off guard, resulting in a powerful throw that sent it flying. Due to this, Jean was able to gain the upper hand as the entity's ability to concentrate and skillfully manipulate its psionic energy weakened. Nevertheless, Naruto didn't cease his efforts. He persisted in unleashing a barrage of formidable energy constructs, including swords, spears, and arrows. He also unleashed a series of energy blasts, exhausting his own reserves from the relentless attack. He was certain that he had probably distributed more melee weapons than any war in human history, or so he believed. The intense bombardment had resulted in a slight change in color in a small area of the room, as a mist-like smoke in shades of red filled the scene. This indicates a strong presence of divine energy in the area. If this happened in your previous domain, your planet would have suffered considerable damage. Divine energy, although usually advantageous, can also result in negative outcomes. This phenomenon can have detrimental effects on living organisms and cause significant damage to the fabric of reality and existence when its power becomes too strong. Your unique divine energy is anything but weak. It is highly focused on exerting control over everything it comes into contact with, showcasing its own superiority. The Phoenix Force spoke with a sense of authority, as if it was stating an undeniable truth. Jean, however, maintained her composure in the face of Naruto's attacks, choosing to keep her thoughts private. She is dedicated to honing her skills in manipulating and maintaining her psionic energy tendrils, always on the lookout for any signs of the Dark Phoenix. Once the smoke cleared, the formidable figure of the ominous bird emerged again, but this time it seemed significantly weakened, resembling a frail, battered, and sickly creature on the verge of demise. Even its wild, melancholic flames seemed to have faded into faint traces of its past grandeur. Interestingly, the Dark Phoenix's condition was not the most significant surprise of all. It was truly remarkable how Jean's psionic energy tendrils were able to successfully separate the Dark Phoenix's own psionic energy and penetrate its body. Got it. Jean approached the final stage of the plan with a determined expression, ready to execute it flawlessly. With her exceptional mastery of psionic energy, she effortlessly exerted her influence over the Dark Phoenix, harnessing its immense power as it merged with Jean's own energy. Please cease. Please, I'm pleading with you. The injured bird emitted a distressing cry and weakly implored, experiencing the excruciating pain that permeated its body. There was a concern that if this unrelenting attack continued, both Jean's psionic tendrils and Naruto's black receivers would eventually eliminate its presence entirely. What are the reasons? Did you pause when I implored you? Did you release me when I implored you to spare those innocent individuals, to spare my companions, to spare my significant other? So why should I consider being more understanding towards you at this point? Sorry, but you will achieve the result you wanted for me, non-existence. You will once again revisit the place where you were born, me. Jean confidently declared the final word with a touch of theatrics, harnessing her immense psionic energy as she exerted her utmost skill to control the bird. With her final pull, the crippled bird's body disintegrated into a swirling mass of energy that merged seamlessly with Jean's own psionic power. The resulting transformation illuminated the surroundings with a dazzling, overwhelming light, as a magnificent silver bird emerged from the fusion and elegantly reunited with Jean, permanently merging with her being. When Jean opened her eyes, her green irises seemed to emit a captivating silver radiance, enhancing her already stunning and unique beauty. Indeed, her entire appearance appeared to have been elevated, as she could easily be likened to one of those mesmerizing beauties in wuxia novels. How are you feeling at the moment, my dear? Naruto engaged in a light-hearted exchange with Jean. Impressive, truly impressive, my incubus boyfriend. Jean responded with a playful tone, her cheeks blushing slightly. Boyfriend, when did I agree to your proposal? Seems like someone is being overly confident. Naruto smiled with a playful assurance. Is that true? I do not need your authorization. I am determined to marry you, even if it means going against your wishes. Jean smiled as she chuckled at Naruto. Excuse me, but I suggest you continue this conversation at a more suitable time, maybe when you are in the privacy of your own home dimension. The relationship between a man who is like a son to me and a woman who recently served as my direct representative seems uncomfortably close, bordering on inappropriate. The sense of connection is heightened by the uncanny similarity between my own psionic and astral signatures and those of the woman in question, although I must confess that such specifics hold little significance to me. It's fascinating how humans perceive incest as a relationship that is universally prohibited, even though it was practiced in their early stages of propagation. The Phoenix Force spoke with a polished demeanor, although Naruto detected a hint of annoyance in her voice for some reason. Is there a connection between us, given our past relationship where I served as your avatar? Jean expertly questioned, ignoring the Phoenix's remark about a sensitive topic. Of course, it is a rather uncommon occurrence, but it has indeed happened. Our psionic energies and astral selves, despite the vast differences in our existences, bear remarkable resemblances. It appears that we share a remarkable similarity, as if we were made from the same fabric, one fashioned into a sophisticated dress, while the other became a modest handkerchief. The cloth quantities may vary significantly, but the quality remains consistent. That's why the Dark Phoenix experienced such a profound transformation, thanks to the immense impact of your pessimistic thoughts and energies. It's the reason why every Jean Grey in the multiverse is the most suitable to become my avatar for their respective universes, and why I consistently choose her. You are the only one who has skillfully absorbed and assimilated their Dark Phoenix counterparts without facing any repercussions. This distinguishes you from the rest. Jean received information from the Phoenix Force. So I guess I'm one of a kind? Jean asked, sounding hesitant. Well, everyone has their own unique qualities, but in this situation, Naruto's involvement is the primary factor. Naruto has not provided any assistance to any other Jean in their fight against the Dark Phoenix. Naruto Uzumaki is the unwavering companion who stands by your side. Introducing the Phoenix Force. I comprehend. Thank you, Naruto. And I genuinely mean it. Your expertise has had a significant influence on my life, greatly enhancing it. I am deeply thankful and filled with appreciation. I deeply value your help. I deeply care for you, now and always. Jean confessed, hoping for Naruto's validation. I also have strong feelings for you. It is quite challenging for me to express this sentiment, as I only recently learned its significance. Honestly, I may not fully understand it yet, but what I feel for you closely resembles the concept of love, or maybe it's an intense fixation." He made a remark at the end to prevent any potential awkwardness. Jean greeted him with a friendly smile and extended her arms for a hug, which he gladly reciprocated. It was a sincere display of affection that transcended mere physical needs, which was a welcome departure for him considering his previous relationships had primarily revolved around purely physical encounters. However, he didn't dislike this. In fact, he found great enjoyment in it. "Maybe I should focus on building deeper and more meaningful relationships with the significant women in my life, instead of regularly pursuing purely physical encounters. Participating in intimate physical activity can also be viewed as a means of establishing a connection with another person, don't you agree?" He contemplated deeply, seeking to decipher the mysterious riddle of love. "I suggested that both of you avoid giving into worldly temptations until you go back to your own realm. Currently, I need your full focus, Naruto. We should address the issue of your future well-being, your association with Odin, and his intentions to cause you harm." The bird's tone was professional and composed as she made the decision to disclose to Naruto the details surrounding his birth. This is a story from a distant era, encompassing countless years of human history. In previous times, the universe was not as tranquil as it is now. Wars and the eradication of entire civilizations and races were prevalent events. Even the Asgardians, led by King Bor-Burisan, faced challenges in protecting their kingdom and expanding their influence. Bor had 4 children with his partner Bestla. Odin was one of the individuals present. In his younger years, he was sent to Earth or Midgard by his father, King Bor, upon uncovering evidence of a potentially perilous celestial being that could pose a threat to Asgard in the future. Odin's main objective was to ensure the safety and protection of Asgard by eliminating any possible dangers. He came across a group of people who had exceptional mystical powers. Despite initially being indifferent, he acknowledged the importance and potential of these individuals, which led him to establish a connection with them. One of them was a girl with exceptional psychic abilities, my first human host, Kushina, who later gained fame as Lady Phoenix after mastering and harnessing my gifts. Throughout this time, Odin had been involved in a romantic connection with a woman, aiming to utilize her abilities for the betterment of Asgard. Surprisingly, he developed sincere emotions for the human girl. Unfortunately, Odin's father would never give his blessing to a union between his son, an Asgardian prince, and a mere human girl lacking any divine heritage, much to their dismay. Having triumphed over and containing the deranged celestial being, Odin made the choice to stay on Earth, desiring a tranquil existence alongside his newfound love. Nevertheless, he couldn't resist his desire for the throne. After receiving the news of his father's passing, he hastily made his way back to Asgard to assert his rightful place, without considering the feelings of his first true love. He recognized that as a ruler, he could never enter into a marriage with Kushina or designate her as his queen, due to her status as a mere human. It is unlikely that she would be accepted by the Asgardians. He left. Nevertheless, the story did not end there. Unbeknownst to him, Kushina was pregnant with their first child. Unfortunately, her health was not in a good condition. She struggled to cope with Odin's abandonment. She was finding it challenging to maintain control over her emotions as her dark phoenix persona loomed on the horizon. It was sapping her strength and vigor as it tried to materialize. Nevertheless, she was resolute in her desire to become a mother and persisted through every challenge. Unfortunately, after just 1 month of pregnancy, she was no longer able to sense her child's life force. It seemed as if the birth had been met with a profound sense of rejection. She asked for help, and I gladly offered my assistance, showing kindness to someone who had helped me before. I applied my professional knowledge and skill in the field of life and rebirth to bring life to her womb, turning the remains of her deceased fetus into something remarkable. That's how my original and genuine phoenix seed, the egg, came to be. A child who was just as much mine as his human parents, if not even more. Unfortunately, the egg had a flaw. It lacked any sense of purpose or passion. It had excluded all souls from the multiverse and cycle of reincarnation, leaving it devoid of any soul. This was due to the fact that my role as an abstract being prevented me from having a child, as fate and destiny did not allow it. It is strictly prohibited for any of the multiversal abstracts to have a sentient child, as per the tribunal's rules, due to the unfortunate events involving Abraxas. A genuine abstract Nephilim can be quite perilous indeed. The Phoenix Force was sharing her story in a polished manner. Hold on, Abraxas, does this being you're referring to actually exist in reality? Naruto interrupted her flashback, disregarding the annoyance briefly visible in her eyes. Quote. Yes, that entity still exists. Now, please allow me to complete the story without any further interruptions. As I was mentioning, the egg was unable to hatch, but that didn't imply that it had no potential for future hatching. And as long as there is hope, there is a solution. Under my guidance, Kushina concealed the egg before her demise, with the assistance of her devoted companion, Agamotto. However, Odin was unaware of all that. Upon his return to Asgard, he discovered that his brother, Cheel, had taken the throne following their father's passing. Cheel was stronger than Odin. In order to surpass his opponent and emerge victorious, he sought out the well of Mimir and partook of its waters. This act bestowed upon him the profound wisdom of runes, transforming him into the ultimate deity of knowledge and runes. He, along with his two remaining brothers, successfully launched an attack and defeated Cheel, ultimately banishing him from reality. However, the battle had also affected Odin. The passing of his father and brothers, the fear instilled in him by Cheel, and the erosion of his own divine abilities and wisdom pushed him to the brink of insanity. He was determined to achieve the highest level of power and authority as a king, surpassing all others and leaving no room for competition. He eliminated all evidence of his brother Cheel and eliminated anyone who had ever been affected by Cheel's abilities. Concerned about a prophecy revealed by Yggdrasil regarding his own child potentially becoming a future adversary and instigating another catastrophic Ragnarok, he was determined to prevent any illegitimate offspring from plotting against him. He went as far as invading Midgard, to eliminate not only the countless humans he thought were followers or believers of Cheel, but also to prevent the possibility of having an uncontrollable child on Earth. Kushina had passed away by this point. Odin was unable to locate her, but Agamotto, who had taken on the role of the unborn child's godfather, remained loyal and responsible throughout, even when the egg was still inside her stomach. He maintained complete secrecy regarding the egg and its location, refusing to disclose any information to anyone. Thus, the egg remained secure and concealed until recently when I unexpectedly detected the egg inexplicably developing its own soul, a phenomenon that defied all logic. I enlisted the help of Selene Gallio, a highly skilled and experienced individual with remarkable psionic abilities. Despite not being my host, Selene possessed the necessary energy and expertise to perform the ritual required to revitalize the life within the egg, ensuring its eventual hatching. And so you came into existence. I tried to keep you hidden from prying eyes, using my powers to shield your existence. However, it seems that you were able to accomplish this on your own, effortlessly. It was challenging for me to monitor your activities. I was able to accomplish that thanks to the help of others. Anyway, it's quite remarkable how Odin never found true happiness or success, despite all his efforts. He successfully conquered all 9 realms, but his eldest daughter, who accomplished it on his behalf, ultimately betrayed him. Additionally, his second eldest daughter, who was meant to bring prosperity and justice to his kingdom, was taken by angels. Surprisingly, he seemed unaffected by this turn of events. Even to this day, one of his sons is relentlessly plotting to eliminate his brother and seize his rightful place on the throne. He remains a king, but his entire destiny is controlled by those who hold power over him from the shadows. The Phoenix Force, finally, wrapped up her extensive flashback with a somewhat cheerful tone towards the conclusion. Wow, that was a truly remarkable and deeply moving flashback. You have the potential to receive an Oscar for your exceptional storytelling skills. Naruto said, wiping away tears from his own face and gently removing tears from Jin's face. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching this amazing video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel for more content. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.